Hi everyone, I'm excited to chat with James Bettauer today. James is a founder of ecotoken, a launchpad for regenerative environmental projects. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, tell us, for how long are you in crypto?
About 3 years now, I guess full time for the past year and a half to 2 years. And yeah, loving every minute of it.
Yeah, and how you got in crypto?
Just when I was doing my master's degree, I'd kind of always associate things or blockchain with things in the real world and how blockchain can impact it, because I was pretty obsessed with blockchain while doing my degree. And then with my thesis was around carbon credits, and just seeing all the different ways that blockchain can have an impact in the environmental space kind of led me to start ecotoken, and just never looked back since.
Yeah, thank you. It's very interesting. Could you please explain how exactly does blockchain influence to the environment?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a common misconception that blockchains are inherently bad for the environment. I think that sure, they use up a lot of energy and proof of work, but for example, they can add a ton of efficiencies to things like the carbon markets, environmental credits, and can help the carbon markets move well beyond carbon and really quantify all of the different environmental impacts that people and companies and projects can have.
Yeah, thanks. And what are some reasons behind the high energy consumption of blockchain technology that leads to its carbon footprint?
Yeah, I would say it's mostly proof of work chains. Like Bitcoin uses a ton of energy, and it's getting greener. I think the last report was like 58% of the energy consumption was green or renewable energy with Bitcoin, but with proof of stake, Ethereum, after the merge, dropped its energy consumption by 99.95% is pretty consensus estimate. And so it's fairly insignificant at that point. And then when you compare it to the trade-offs, the positive trade-offs and benefits that blockchain enables for the environment, I think it's a definite win.
Okay, thanks. And what does Refi exactly, how it works for the environment?
Well, Refi just stands for regenerative finance, and it can mean a lot of things. There's a lot of things that are encompassed in that, like decentralized science, verification, so verifying that impacts are taking place through satellite data put on chain or through other data that's just brought on chain. And then there's the carbon credits and other environmental credits that can be moved around easily on chain. They can solve for double counting, and you can, I guess, verify those credits to a much higher degree through blockchain technology, because it's immutable, it can't be faked, and it's all right there for anyone to see. Those are some of the things. Yeah, there's other projects working on other things. There's a lot happening. There's NFT projects that are environmentally focused and things like that. There's projects being pre-funded through crypto rails, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and if you mentioned this kind of project, could you please give us like more details and more examples, and how exactly do they work?
Yeah, well, I think an easy example would be for what we're doing, if that would probably be the easiest for me to talk about, at least, is that real world projects can be pre-funded through blockchain rails and then brought online. And then, for example, there's no existing way to create a water credit, but in blockchain, we can verify it on Regen Network, which is a decentralized carbon credit producer, and we can bring the credits online there and then sell them on blockchains across different chains, and also to consumers, to businesses, consumers. And then that's an added revenue stream for those projects. So then that project can get up and running and have a new revenue stream to allow it to continue operations in the future. And that can be with any environmentally focused project. All you need to do is create a new methodology and credit class in this decentralized way that really broke down the barrier to entry, because right now there's, it costs millions of dollars to create a new way to generate credits, whereas in a blockchain decentralized process, it's much cheaper, quicker, and yeah, higher levels of verification, I think.
Yeah, thanks. And how does the energy-intensive process of verifying transactions and creating new blocks on the blockchain contribute to greenhouse gas emissions?
That would be, more so proof of work blockchains. Proof of stake, it's fairly minimal just because you've got whoever owns the stake. The compute doesn't change as much, but with proof of work, it's definitely a hurdle because you want to decentralize as much as possible. But with higher levels of compute entering the network, it's going to be that compute has to be somewhat centralized as well, because you've got the big data farms that are going to be that have access to that kind of compute, whereas the regular individual doesn't. So it's definitely, Bitcoin isn't my area of expertise, but it's certainly there's certainly ways that it can be improved, I think.
Yeah, thank you. And do you think that are users and developers aware about the energy consumption of blockchain technology, how it does influence on the environment?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of campaigns around Bitcoin and things like that people are aware, and then I think people are starting to become more aware on other chains, how they're not emitting. So Solana, for example, has been very, very open and transparent about their environmental emissions, and they've been a great case study. And a way to go about it is be transparent about all of your carbon emissions. They have it publicly posted for the entire network's energy consumption in real time, and anyone can see that. And they actually offset that fully on chain as well. And I think that's a very good good role model to follow for other chains to enact that, because then that really breaks down the narrative that blockchains are bad for the environment.
Yeah, thank you so much. And could you please give us also any existing initiatives or projects aimed at mitigating the environmental impact of blockchain technology?
I mean, there's a lot, I suppose. I mean, not specifically blockchain emissions. I mean, there are groups trying to make blockchains more efficient, of course, and there's software updates and things that go into that. But a lot of the regenerative finance projects are using crypto rails to have environmental impacts, more so than just the impact of the blockchain. Because to be honest, I don't think blockchains are an issue for the environment. I think they're a net positive, depending on which chain. I can see you're not completely agreeing. Bitcoin, sure, there's the argument for that, but I don't see an argument for proof of stake blockchains being bad for the environment. But the net positive, there is a huge net positive for Refi and blockchain technology having an impact on the environment. So there's a lot of projects that are making strides in that. But yeah, there's energy efficiency upgrades happening as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, because my next question was about if blockchain energy use keeps increasing, what could happen? But you don't actually believe in that?
Well, so I think when we say blockchain, there's a big difference between blockchain.
Yeah, most
like, if we're talking about Solana is, they have a total carbon emissions of 10,000 tons per year, and they offset it with high quality credits. So it's pretty carbon neutral. It's not having a negative impact on the planet. Meanwhile, there's projects building and having an external impact. So actually making it negative, that would only be possible because of something like Solana, like our water project that's going to be reducing 700 tons per year, plus treating 70,000 cubic meters of clean water per year. And that's enabled by Solana blockchain rails. So, but then if you're talking about Bitcoin, then with Bitcoin, yes, there's a big energy impact. It's not completely green. I think there's ways that it could be fixed, like through environmental credits on the blockchain, where you incentivize green mining by allowing a Bitcoin miner that is using sustainable resources to create a credit all on chain and then be rewarded from the Bitcoin network in some way, or a DAO focused on that specifically. And that would incentivize greener action on Bitcoin. But big proof of work versus proof of stake is definitely needs to be separated in the climate argument.
Yeah, thank you. And again, about Refi, do you think there are maybe specific industries or sectors where Refi has shown like significant impact?
Yeah, I mean, it's still breaking out, but basically I would say the eco credit industry. So right now, obviously, carbon credits are a huge thing, and the world seems to be very focused on carbon. And a lot of people don't think that carbon is the be-all, end-all for the environment. There's biodiversity, there's water, there's a ton of different things that we should be focused on, whereas carbon is a byproduct of those and not the main focus, because not all carbon is equal. If you save a specific ecosystem and there's a residual carbon impact off of that, then that should be the byproduct of it. So I think blockchain technology allows you to dive into the nuances of the credits and really explain what the credit is in a verifiable way. And I think that that's a place that blockchain's really leading right now. There's some marine biodiversity credits coming online, water credits, a lot of regular biodiversity or land biodiversity as well. And I think those are some pretty unique use cases that aren't quite being picked up on yet, that I think will be interesting in the future.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you. And what do you think, what are the key objectives or goals of Refi, especially in terms of environmental impact?
So for me, I can just speak for the future I see with how blockchain can change the world from an environmental standpoint. And I see a future where anyone can act in an environmentally sustainable way and be profitable. And the only way to do that is by incentivizing that action through driving demand for those credits and being able to create those credits in the first place. So the more credit protocols that come online where anyone can create a credit, because right now in the traditional markets, it's very difficult to create a carbon credit. It's unbelievably lengthy process, and it's very minute, the amount of projects that actually qualify. So if you decentralize it and allow everyone to be able to create a credit, bring those online, then as that expands, anyone having a home farm can eventually create a credit, and they're sequestering carbon by treating the farming practices properly. And if they can create a credit, that can probably offset the cost of the time, the effort, the money invested in getting the right infrastructure on your property. And if that credit can offset that, then more people will likely act in that way. And then hopefully they're actually making money off of it. So if someone can make an extra $10,000 a year, say, by having a sustainable farm on their property and acting in the best interest of the environment, then that's how we make a huge impact. And I think that the more credits, the more protocols, the more ways people can contribute, the better off we'll be. And that's I think how you can decentralize the problem and solution.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you so much. And what do you think? How should the community act and behave to support this thing, and vice versa? What are the challenges and obstacles?
I think there's not enough consumer demand for these types of credits, and I think that if you're a blockchain community person and you care about the environment, then you should be supporting blockchain credits and making a purchase, and we're actually working on trying to get consumer demand by creating an impact score so that anyone can get involved, they can offset, but then they can be rewarded for doing so. And any project that wants to contribute to those that have impacted the environment positively can do that. I mean, this is airdrop season, so there's airdrops everywhere. Let's get some of those towards people having positive environmental impact. And I think that the more that we can do that, the more that we can drive consumer demand, we don't have to just rely on corporates who only want these big shiny credits. We can have the little guy credits get out there and support each other in creating a better world.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And what do you think? How could financial institutions or investors support impact on developing the environmental impact?
Yeah, I mean, get involved in startups for one. So invest early in startups, purchase credits. If you're going to purchase credits for your offsetting for your company anyways, why not go with the decentralized little guy credits where, it's just regular people having an impact. There's no middleman. There's no 80% going to the person selling you the credit or whatever. And the little farmer in Indonesia is getting screwed over because they sold off the rights 10 years ago kind of thing. So it's really, these credits are going to the people having the impact, which is great to see. And that's totally blockchain, right? Like the people actually are being rewarded for what they're creating. So yeah, I think that's how I would do it is invest and purchase the credits and and explore. I mean, learn about the space.
Totally. Yeah. Thank you. And James, what excites you more in the future of blockchain and Web3 in general?
Well, I love the speed of the space and how quickly people move, things move, and there's just not as much red tape and people are willing to collaborate. It's a fun space. It's just like, hey, we want to do this cool thing. I'm in, let's go. And it's just really fun to work in. And I think that that's the environment where big impacts happen, when people are just willing to try new things. So yeah, that's my favorite thing about the space. And then, kind of hopefully entering a new bull market, and we get to see what's been built in the bear the last 2 years. So pretty excited to see some adoption here, hopefully.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming, James.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Malika. It was a pleasure to be on your channel here.